SVG's Jason Dachman here with another episode of SVG SportsTech On Demand. I'm here with two of the top executives from Masstech, George Kilpatrick, who's CEO. George, welcome.
Hi.
And Savva Mueller, who's VP of Product. Savva, thanks for taking the time.
Hello, thanks.
First of all, gentlemen, where are you guys coming from? And is everybody safe and healthy with the Masstech team as of now?
Jason, thanks for asking. Yeah, everyone's safe and healthy. I'm sitting in southern UK at the moment. And the team, 24/7 support team and everyone, we're pretty used to being deployed remotely. But yeah, so far everyone's fit and healthy. Savva?
Yeah, and I'm here in my home office in Madison, Wisconsin. So yeah, so far so good. We're just all trying to stay safe and do the right thing.
Great to hear it, guys. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. NAB is not happening physically this year as a show, but obviously doesn't mean that there's not all kinds of new technology and product developments that are coming out nonetheless. No different for Masstech, I'm sure. So why don't we start, George, for those watching that aren't familiar with Masstech, just a brief overview of what you guys provide for the broadcast industry.
So sure. So Masstech is over 15 years old. A lot of people will know the name. We have around about 450 customers globally. And we basically provide video content management solutions. We started in the HSM world, or hierarchical storage management, archive management to those, working with various MAM players. And we continue to do that, but clearly we're a much more advanced product than then. We can maybe tell you a bit more about what we're doing for this show.
Sure, great. Let's kind of start with the industry at large right now. I think one thing that we've seen have the largest impact in the media and entertainment business as a result of the pandemic has been content management and access to archives, especially if you were primarily an on-prem operation. So what are you seeing from your clients? George, why don't you go first, and then Savva, if you want to follow up. In terms of the challenges that they're facing right now with everyone having to work remotely, essentially?
Sure. It's the same with sports and news, and clearly we have clients in all of those areas. I would say it's interesting. So on the news side, which is less relevant maybe here, there's just a huge increase in live because there's so much stories, so many stories, I should say. Clearly on sports and on other broadcast media, there's a real reliance on archive material now. People are and I think that's obvious, but what does that mean? It means, okay, how can they access assets which are on-prem when half of their team have been sent home? Mm-hmm. How can they allow remote working? And I'll let Savva talk about some of the details on that. But there is operations are ongoing. People need to fill airtime. There's a real interest in cloud, especially, and we clearly manage both the migration to cloud and the management of assets in cloud, so that people can, in our case, they have one namespace view of what they're managing. But ultimately, it's about getting more out of their archives. Some of those things that they thought perhaps they were never going to use. I don't know, old baseball programs, which if you love baseball, that's great. But I mean, it's stuff that's probably not being thought about and is now becoming relevant. And so we are looking at tools like AI from the various cloud vendors as to how we can use those better with customers to access more easily for journalists and editors to put together packages. Savva,
Okay.
Do you want to comment?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly right. It's varying by different type of customer. We are seeing a lot of customers heavily use their archives. Obviously that's a resource that they can rely on in these types of situations. We're also seeing users obviously, have to change the way that they produce content.
Sure.
Change the way that they access content.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the near term, just short term, what are some of the things that you guys are providing in terms of, fee structures, training, these types of things, just to make sure that your customers can stay above water as they're, adjusting on the fly right now?
Yeah, so I'll talk about one or two of the kind of commercial pieces, and I'll let Savva talk about some of the new, some of the product things we're doing to help them. Clearly people are using cloud more, and we have a cloud connector, so we're effectively licensing that for free for the period of the of this event, however long it goes on. We think that's really helpful for those people who need to use for remote working, and just for even if they just need more access to assets. We basically we're trying to enable remote working. So Savva, do you want to talk about our download capability?
Exactly. Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing is we're putting functionality in the user interface to directly download content, to the local workstation. Usually, if you're working in a facility, users are transferring content from deep storage, archival storage, into their production systems or production storage, or even into local editing bays. But we've never seen a need, a high-profile need for the ability to download content directly to workstations in the field or at home, as we've seen in this current situation. So we've added that capability so that it'll be accessible for users in our latest version.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Everybody needs to access their content. They might not be there, but they still need access to it, right?
Yeah, and just to add a couple of things, I mean, we already have sort of Adobe and Avid plugins which allow people to use their edit software using their archive, which is on the Masstech archives. But the last thing, we're really trying to help people who've already kind of got the systems to get the best out of the systems. So we're offering free training to allow people to. Often it's just reminders of, do you know you can do this? If you don't have to pay anymore. It's just a question of knowledge. So we're doing quite a lot of free webinars and training sessions with customers just so they can kind of get the best out of what they've already bought into.
Yeah, we're finding that it's all about awareness. Essentially, you have these tools at your fingertips now, but you're not totally sure what you can do with them all the time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's a key point. So in addition to all that, immediate near-term stuff, there's obviously developments with the platform as well. So Savva, maybe tell me a little bit about what those NAB announcements were essentially going to be, some of the new modules and cool things that are happening in the Masstech ecosystem.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got the Accumulate platform, which is our next generation version of content management and intelligent storage, movement, and orchestration. And so that really is something that we introduced at IBC. We've had a lot of customers, start to roll that out and implement that. So alongside that, we've also released our Adobe panel, which George touched on, which provides direct access to the archives in Adobe Premiere. So for editors who are using that, we have a similar type of product that's been available for a few years for Avid editors. Then building on that for NAB, one of our big announcements is about our gateway product, which provides our customers with the ability to configure templates for all of the people who are uploading content to them. So primarily for cable channels and networks and other publishers who are receiving content programming from all over the place and from lots of different providers. They can create these templates. They can ensure that when that content does get uploaded, it fits the standards that they've established, and they can do either some automated QC on that or some manual QC on that to check it and make sure that it is meeting their standards and meeting the expectations that they have for it. And then that gets uploaded into their system and into their their distribution chain.
Very cool. Excellent, guys. Well, so moving forward, what can we expect from Masstech to continue to, help the industry through these next few months? And obviously, it's going to be a different production world in our little corner of the world once we hit the other side of this. So, what do you guys have plans moving forward as we all navigate this, George?
So I think, there are a few products that we're developing at the moment. We mentioned Gateway, which I think is it's a pretty cool product. My background is post, and I worked for Technicolor for many years, looking at how you put productions together, and the kind of ingest of from multiple suppliers was always one of those issues. So, frankly, it was a bit of a bugbear of mine. So one of the reasons we went through to try and fix that for some of our key clients. And I think, if you think about the fact that everyone's going to have to be looking at archives and new sources of material, even foreign language material, etc. I think there's going to be even more of that requirement to kind of normalize content as it comes into a cable station. So we'll be hunkering down on that. We also, we're doing a lot of work on our UI. You will see it's much more intuitive, much more clean. We had a very good and functional UI before, but I think we'll see that helps customers work with our solutions better, makes search easier, make restores, etc., are much more easy to use, and also things like orchestration, where we are providing workflow orchestration as a package which customers can use themselves now, rather than requiring some of our engineers to build it for them. We clearly can still offer that service. And then there's a bunch of, as we move forward, I guess cloud and remote working, I suspect, is going to become even more critical. I don't know. None of us know what's going to happen, but it's pretty clear to me that we may have periods of lockdown going forward for many months. I don't mean all of us all the time, but you just don't know. If you're a facility, you may have to send your engineers home for the next year for on and off. We don't know. So all I can see is an increase in that kind of requirement. So tools which help with remote working, with access, with ease of workflow, I think are where we will be focusing our effort, even to the extent that making UIs as user-friendly as possible, making admin and security clearly as, user-friendly, but also as secure as possible. Those are the areas I see us concentrating on.
Yeah, no matter what happens, I think we all know that remote access, remotely accessible tools are going to be key moving forward. It's going to be a must. It's not a option anymore. So
no, I think just lastly, we are doing integrations clearly with our key partners in both in the MAM space and in the, if you like, the public cloud space. And you'll see more work we're doing specifically with those, and some announcements on those in the fairly near future.
Great. Well, we'll keep an eye out for those. And gentlemen, I really appreciate you taking the time. George, Savva, thanks so much, and stay safe, stay healthy.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. You too.
Bye-bye.
For more episodes of SVG's Sports Tech On Demand, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org and the SVG YouTube channel.